I'm Lisa and this is Ben, and we're from the Create Foundation. We're working on a project called the Ability Project, which is for children and young people in out-of-home care with a disability.
Welcome to Voice Your Choice, Create Foundation's supported decision maker training. This is a video for caseworkers, support workers and carers who work with young people with a disability in the out-of-home care sector.
Let's start by looking at what supported decision making is and what it's built on. Supported decision making is for people who might need help making a decision because of a disability. Supported decision making comes from the United Nations Convention on the Rights of People with Disability. For this reason, we have a human rights-based approach to working with people with a disability. The UN Convention refers to 3 key articles which inform the SDM approach in including people with a disability in the community.
In a supported decision-making approach, young people with disabilities are considered to be active participants rather than passive recipients of a service. In your role as support workers, you're considered to be enablers, helping to young people make decisions about their lives with dignity and respect. In a supported decision-making approach, young people are empowered to make choices even at the start of the process around things like who will help them make a decision and what decision in particular they want support with. Supported decision making is not counselling or therapy or mentoring. You may be familiar with a person-centred approach, and supported decision making is also quite different to that. In a person-centred approach, you'd focus quite a lot on the young person, but in supported decision making, the focus is on a two-way relationship where your rapport building and people skills are just as important as what the young person brings. You may have heard the word capacity used quite a bit in the industry. It's used to describe the competence, understanding, or limits of a young person's skills or capabilities. It's really important that we understand that all young people can expand and increase their capacity over time through practice and regular use of the skill. In supported decision making, young people can increase their capacity to make decisions, know their rights, and identify their supporters.
Now that we've seen that supported decision making has a strong human rights-based approach, we're going to explore some of the principles which will guide you through your role as decision supporters.
The size of your role as a decision supporter will depend on your relationship to the decision maker and their support needs. No matter who you're supporting or what your relationship is to them, there are important principles to follow. These principles can guide you in your role as decision supporters. They also protect the rights of the person making the decision.
Everyone has the right to make a decision based on the things that are important to them. Having a disability is no reason to exclude someone from using that right.
Every young person can exercise their right to decide. The focus isn't on their capacity or their capability, but rather the level of support they require to have that participation.
You must only give as much support as is required. The level of support will depend on the decision that's being made. Decision making is a skill that can be learned, as is supporting someone to make a decision.
Decision support is about respecting the goals, experiences, and values of the young person. You need to be able to support decisions in an unbiased way so the young person can make the decisions for themselves.
The decision maker is always in control. They have a right to change their mind, make mistakes, and learn from their experiences.
You must have a relationship with a young person based on trust. It's very hard to support someone according to these principles if you also have an interest in a particular outcome of these decisions.
Decision support is about enabling a person with a disability to make a decision with the same rights and responsibilities as those people without a disability. Now that we've looked at the principles of supported decision making, we're going to analyse these and apply them to some case studies.
Bill is a support worker at an accommodation unit for young adults with intellectual disabilities. Bill is a favourite with several of the residents because of his fun, easygoing nature. Bill has been chosen as a decision supporter by one of the young men who lives in the unit named Dave, who is 22. Dave works as a gardening and lawn mowing assistant. Dave feels frustrated at work because his supervisor doesn't listen to what he has to say and dismisses his opinions and ideas without giving them proper consideration. Things recently got worse when the supervisor was telling the staff about some changes, but refused to listen to what Dave had to say. Dave raised the issues he's having with his supervisor with Bill. Bill was busy at the time helping one of the residents cook dinner and didn't pay too much attention to what Dave was saying. Bill pointed out to Dave that he was lucky to have a job and be outside in the sun all day and told him not to worry about it. Dave hasn't mentioned the situation again.
What did Bill struggle with, and what are the things that Bill could have done better?
Some of the things that you may have identified that Bill struggled with could include:
In order to be an effective decision supporter, Bill could have done the following. Claire is the mother and main decision supporter of her daughter Hannah, who is 24. Claire's daughter Hannah is in a wheelchair and needs support for lots of day-to-day tasks. Hannah also works part-time and has a small group of good friends. Hannah has recently mentioned to Claire that she would like to move out of home and either have her own place or share it with a friend. Claire is worried that Hannah doesn't understand what a big step it would be for her to live independently. Claire is scared that Hannah won't be able to cope and that she will be much more vulnerable to people taking advantage of her if she is living away from home. Claire also feels a bit hurt as she has spent so much of her life supporting Hannah and feels that Hannah wanting to live independently shows that she doesn't realise how hard this has been on Claire. When Hannah raised the idea of moving out, Claire pointed out all the things that could go wrong and then quickly changed the subject.
So what do you think Claire struggled with? What could she have done better?
Some of the things that Claire struggled with could include
In order to be an effective decision supporter, Claire could have done the following. For the final part of this video, we're going to take a look at some common barriers and common enablers to supported decision making.
Some common barriers to supported decision making can include
Some effective enablers of supported decision making can include In your everyday practice, you may find that you can't perfectly reenact every principle of supported decision making, and that's okay. Sometimes effective supported decision making is knowing the barriers that you can't avoid and finding other ways to help young people to enforce their rights in creative ways.
There are some key messages you can take away from today's video. Firstly, that it's important to follow the principles for decision supporters.
Secondly, it's important to remember that in your relationship with the young person, mutual respect and trust are key components.
And thirdly, that you have reflective practice. You need to be aware of what you bring to the relationship.
We've reached the end of the video. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch. We hope we've taught you something about supported decision making, the principles that it follows, and hopefully you've found some ways to implement it in your everyday practice.
If you'd like to find out more about the Create Foundation, please go to our website or give us a call.
Thank you.